I did the wrap-up questions. I got you.
See, what up, though? This is Reyes Poetry, and we're here at the Hollywood Casino at Greektown, and we're on the 28th floor at the Culture Suite, where we are highlighting artists, creatives in the music, culture, art scene of Detroit on their way down to South by Southwest. And I'm here with my co-hosts.
Just Shakoy.
Xavier, go by Barely Hispanic on the internet.
AKA Barely Latino. No, I'm just playing. You know, Barely Puerto Rican. All
barely,
of that. Hey, you should have got all of them.
Wait, no,
yeah,
wait. He's Diego now, actually.
That was fun.
So we are here with one of the creatives that will be at South by Southwest. We are here with Louie Lee. And let's give some love to Louie. Welcome to the show.
Up?
What's up, y'all? Thank you guys for having me.
How do you say hello in country?
Yeah, we came up with this name for the Culture Suite like 2 weeks ago. So what we've been doing is just talking about, you know, the music scene in Detroit, Michigan, on our way to South by Southwest. So tell us, you know, I hear like it's country music that you do, but like a different take on country, right? Or like maybe a modernized version?
Yeah, so I call it,
so
I call it country hop and roll.
Country hop and roll.
Yeah, char. And basically it takes the elements of like country singing mixed with like Detroit hip hop style beats and rap cadences with like a rock and roll attitude.
Okay.
So yeah, country hop and roll.
So growing up, were you a big country fan? Were you exposed to it? Like, where did that country influence come from for you?
Yeah, so growing up, obviously, like all over Metro Detroit, I grew up downriver, Taylor, and then I went out to the edge of Wayne County in New Boston. Yeah, Taylor, Tucky, living in the trailer park. And then, you know, so growing up in Detroit, like I think most people can relate, is we're consumed with so much different genres of music here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? From Motown to techno, rock music, hip hop. You know, and even country. So for me, in order to be my most authentic self, when I started creating this sound, I had to kind of pull from a little bit of these genres to create something that felt natural to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I started with it. The whole project started as like therapy, even for me. Like I was during COVID. I lost like 4 grandparents in 6 months. I lost one of my best friends who was only 36, and he always called me Louie, and he always wanted me to be a country singer. So in a way to honor him, I was like, all right, well, I can sing country, but I need to still have some 808 backbeat to it. It needs to slap still, and I still want to drop bars on it. And anybody that's ever seen me live knows that, like, I go like Mick Jagger on stage, so I keep that rock and roll attitude with it.
Okay.
So that's kind of just how it started forming, and it's only been around now for a year and 8 months. So this will be my second South by Southwest showcasing it. So I'm really excited to be part of Backwoods and Bonfires and with culture creators, because the event you guys throw is just bar none, top notch.
Thank you, man. We really appreciate that. Also, sorry for your loss.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, a lot of people experienced that, you know. It was tough.
In a lot of these interviews, we've been talking about boxes and labels and how like artists fight them, and it seems that you've done a really good job at like creating your lane. How and branding it, right? You have like a name and a description. How hard or easy was that for you? What was the process through that journey?
That's a really good question, because I think my whole career, like most artists, and I heard you guys talking about imposter syndrome in another interview, we all deal with that, right? And it's like always looming over us, you know, and then you always have an industry person saying, well, you need to find your lane. You know, you need to find your niche, right? All these things. And while I agree with that, I was like, all right, well, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear, but F that. But fuck that. I was like, I'm just going to build a whole damn subdivision. So I built a subdivision where Louie Lee's got streets on it. You know what I mean? So I didn't put myself in a box. I made the box.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm always encouraging young artists, like, look, don't worry about what they say. You just need to stay authentic to yourself, whether it's like the words you write or the music you're trying to produce, you know? So for me, coming up with the brand and the sound and all these different things, I was really lucky to have guys like Jorg in my corner.
Yeah.
And I've built a really good team where it's like we're always just talking about it. Like I imagine you with your artists, you know, we're always just talking about it and trying to just, you know, work it. You know, it's like a sculpture, and we're just like sculpting it. And, you know, the more you like give love to it, it starts, you know, giving love back. So it took time. It didn't happen overnight, you know, but we really just took our time with it, you know.
It's polished well.
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said about, like, you know, the Midwest gets overlooked, I think, a lot musically, artistically. And I think in being overlooked, a lot of people are just unfamiliar with, like, the unique kind of geographical, cultural context, you know what I mean? Because we say Taylor, Tucky, and we know what that means, but you're like, why would this place in Michigan have that, like, connotation to it, you know what I mean? But there is, like,
It gets
there is
country.
it is very country. The state of Michigan's big farmland. There's also just a lot of like southern movement up to the Midwest. But again, still all of these like West Coast, East Coast kind of like influences. So to the hip hop element, being from Michigan, being from Taylor, being here in Detroit, I'm curious like what were some of those influences on your personal music?
Yeah, obviously, Eminem, Slum Village, J Dilla, different stuff like that. I mean, and I have to throw it to like Eminem big time because when you're a kid, and you're a white kid, and you hear a guy like Eminem rap the way he does, I felt like he was breaking down a little bit of a barrier for it's like, this doesn't have to just be about race. It's like, why can't it just be about music? And it was just like he's just expressing himself. So I was just like inspired by that. I was like, I just want to be able to rap. I just want to try it. And give it a shot. Yeah. Nothing loaded about it. Not thinking about it too much. So I was just inspired by it. And I've always loved, like Jay Dilla and just like rhythms and beats. And shout out to Nick Speed and like different producers in the city that just create these different abstract atmospheres with their productions. So for me, when you listen to my music, which you can find the LouieLeeShow.com, and it'll take you to all your DSPs. I wanted to make sure that my music had like a musical landscape to it that reflected that. So whether it was like the kick drums and the snares or the claps, snaps, or just the different synths I would use while mixing it with acoustic guitars and electric guitars. I wanted to make sure that it had something a little bit for everybody, but still feeling like it was mine.
Country music can be like really guarded. Right. And
right. Very. I was just in Nashville last week, and you ain't lying.
It's almost like a folk music in a way, right? When I say folk music, I just mean that there's a definition of what people understand that music to be, and if you vary from it, it's not that music anymore.
A very strong narrative.
Yeah,
they are the quickest to be like that ain't country.
Yeah.
Shout out to Beyonce. Shout out to Beyonce. That ain't country.
I'm curious, like. Like what has been, because it's one thing to be in our pockets and our communities and people love us and they know us and like, I know that artist. I know he's an authentic person. What has been your experience? You say you're in Nashville with like the country scene on like a national landscape. How do you feel? Do you feel there's like a tendency? I mean, obviously with Beyonce dropping her project, I mean, there's a conversation around country right now, right? So how has your music been received in other spaces that are like country strongholds?
Yeah, country's probably never been as cool as it's been than right now, even with like artists like Morgan Wallen and Hardy and now Beyonce entering the game. It's like, okay, well, Beyonce's in it. Like, it's fair game for everybody, really, right? It has been a challenge because immediately, like, most genres, they have like their purist in it. And like instantly they're like, oh, that ain't country, that ain't country. It's like, well, let's talk about it for a second. Country music is all about authenticity, and a lot of similarities in the way country artists and like a hip hop artist, there's that hero's journey, right? Everybody comes from this, not everybody, but like usually there's a struggle to like some type of victory we're all trying to get, right? So there's that hero's journey we're all trying to like cross, right? Well, as a country artist, I'm just telling a story that's more authentic to me. Did I grow up in the hood? No. But did I grow up in a trailer park where I saw some shit? Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not as hip-hop as others, and it's not as country as others. So, like, instead of worrying about really what people said, I was like, you know what? Forget it. If I can't get on country radio with this song, maybe the next song, right? Yeah. If I can't get on top 40 radio with this song, maybe the next song. Instead of always chasing it, I was like, I'm just going to keep creating music that feels good to my soul, and then I can keep feeding my fan base, which I call bandits, so shout out to the bandits. And the bandits, they love it. They're part of it. And that's who I make music for, myself and them.
Yeah, so I'm curious also, like, your experience, like, growing up in spaces. We keep saying Taylor. I know that maybe where you spent all your childhood. Yeah. But in reference to me, like, it's interesting. In Detroit, we're in one of the blackest cities in America, but then we also have, like, this, like, mirror of, like, downriver, which is, like, poor white folks. And there's, like, black folks there and Latinos there, too. But a lot of times we reference it here locally, like, oh yeah, downriver kind of references this white experience with poverty, like you said, like trailer park. How much had that shaped kind of like your narrative when you go out? Because like what Xavier was saying, a lot of people don't really know about it, right? So how much of that shows up in your narrative, your storytelling, your narratives, your music?
Yeah, I'm very proud to be where I'm from. Like every time I go somewhere, and I think you guys experience too, when you say, and you know, when you go to like a big city, right? Like when I'm in Nashville, I'm not like, I'm saying like I'm from like Taylor or New Boston, you know what I'm saying, from Detroit, and immediately people's ears perk up. Why? Because I feel like you said, the Midwest and just this hub right here has been so lucky to have some of the best music to come out of it, and all of us growing up with it. Like it's in the water, man. We're very lucky to be blessed the way we are, even with our struggles. So I'm always proud to say where I'm from, whether I'm in LA or New York, and I'm like, yeah, I'm from Detroit, and I make this music, and instantly people are more intrigued because they're like, whoa, so what's it like? And, you know, now I want to hear the music because they know so much great music has came here. So I don't shy away from it. You know, I always like to incorporate that. Like, I'm proud of where I came from. It keeps my story authentic. You know, low income family, but I had a great mother, you know, great parents, you know. So while there was struggle, you know, I was very blessed that I had good people looking out for me, you know.
We've talked a lot about like imposter syndrome and just struggling with branding and like finding your story, and you seem to have a very good sense of that. And so what advice can you give to anybody that's kind of going through that struggle of finding their niche or even just creating their own box?
Yeah, I think you should just continue doing what you're doing, and even when those things start weighing on you, just keep fighting past it, keep going. It's like that little meme that you see where the guy's like digging in like the mine, and
Talked
they're
about this before.
it's right there, and it's right there, right?
Yeah.
It's right there. So
With-
it's like, you know, don't even sweat it. Like it's gonna come back. You're gonna deal with it. It's gonna be there. But if your heart's in the right place and you really believe in the sound you're creating, the music you're creating, well, that's the most important thing. You know, create it for yourself, make the therapy happen, bring it to life, and then share it with the world, you know. But first, it's got to be yours. It has to be your art first. Yeah. So as long as you feel good about it and it's your art and you're proud of it, well, then you're not really an imposter at all to me, you know. You're already on your way.
Obviously, we're on our way to South by. This will be your second time. This will be our however many times we've been down there. Also, too, before we make this pivot, I wore this shirt not knowing this was the next interview.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
See, I was hyping myself
He went
up.
and
I just
changed.
like the shirt.
He went and changed.
No, it's from Second Vibes. It's from Second Vibes.
I was hyping myself up when you put it on. I was like, yeah, that's my boy.
I didn't wear. Now I think about it. I didn't wear.
Yeah, we're all very
I
like Americana.
I was like,
I got
y'all on brand.
Yeah.
We kind of look like we have the hardest band
We do,
forming
we
right
really,
now.
and you know what? We might make a debut at South by, but we're on our way to South by.
Give me a
and
cowboy
we
hat.
got some friends and some sponsors.
Yeah,
and
we do have some
Yes.
sponsors, but before that, where can we find you?
Yeah.
Where can we find all your links?
Yes,
and all
first
that
and
stuff?
foremost, always at my home, thelouisleeshow.com. But from there, you can find me on IG at The Louie Lee Show, YouTube at The Louie Lee Show, and on TikTok at The Louie Lee Show.
I do have a friend, Holly, that really loves your music, and they sent me like a link of your stuff yesterday because I think they saw York post something. So this is the person I was telling you about. Yeah, I'm already hip. I know.
Yeah, like I know, Louie. It's cool. It's cool. Yeah.
But you know, we do have a sponsor.
Yeah.
What the hell is
Chillbean.
Stay so chill,
Chillbean.
so chill.
Chillbean. This Chillbean is a very cool thing because when you're at festivals, so I'm one of the co-owners of Backwoods and Bonfires Music Festival, which I'm really proud of because we started in a backyard, very country backyard.
Hell yeah, I seen it. it.
But part of the problem when you go to a festival is you're looking for seats.
There's nowhere to sit.
Well, the real thing is most festivals are just like one, if it's space, but also it's like, man, we don't want people like just congregating in one space. But
Just
you
lay
could-
in the ground.
You could just take this, chill,
And then you don't have to lay in the ground.
And then you
Game
can
changer.
share this with how many people?
With that, you know,
Several.
however many you
Several
got,
people,
you know.
you know?
The
You
more
can
the
make
merrier.
a new
That's what we
person.
heard.
Amen.
There's
Amen.
some Chillbean babies out there, but thank you to Chillbean, you know, for supporting us on our way down. Also, you know, Second Vibes for, you know, let's get some good
coming
drink,
out,
you know?
helping us look good.
Feel
And,
me?
you know,
Styled.
Thank you to Louie Lee for being a guest
Yeah, of
today.
course.
Thank you guys so much. What a pleasure.
This is Reyes Poetry,
Just Shakoy.
Xavier.
and we're on the 28th floor of the Hollywood Casino at
Hibachi.
Greektown,
Yeah,
on our way
yeah.
to South by Southwest. Hey, stay tuned.